Hello YouTube, this is Engineer Pat 5290 at my desk tonight doing a special review of the ready-to-roll Amtrak P42DC. And this locomotive in fact is based on a real-life counterpart. Amtrak has a majority of these in their fleet. The locomotive was produced between 1993 and 2001, and these were built for Amtrak specifically, but some of their ex-Amtraks went to companies like New Jersey Transit and VIA Rail over in Canada. These engines were very popular in the GE days. They were built specifically for Amtrak, and they got a whole lot of these units. These engines look really sweet. This engine is nicely done, and it's pretty much what you would expect on a high-end HSK locomotive. It has a plastic body with very nice detailed trucks under a stamped steel frame. The paint job on this engine is flawless. It's awesome. I did not see any problems with it. This is in the Phase 3 paint scheme, as you can clearly see. I'll move the engine a little bit, get it off this cord here, so you guys can actually see it. It's very nicely done. It's exactly the original. Athearn does a good job of matching with the original look. As you can see here, the trucks are die-cast with some separately applied details. It's just plastic, but it looks really awesome. The fuel tank over here is nicely done with some separately painted items. I did look at some images on the fuel tank, and they are really exact to the original, which is a very good thing. The radiators are nicely done. They're not see-through. It's just, guess they're just kind of cast in, but they look really good. And you're wondering, the smokestack on this unit does not operate. As we turn the unit around to the back, I'll shift the camera as well too. The back of the unit is nicely done with a few little separately applied details. You also have a backup headlight. You also have a maintenance door, as well as a little bit of a plow here. As we turn back to the front of the unit, we have a separately applied plow that's been put on, and we also have classification lights. If you're wondering, the classification lights do not work though, and of course you have little separately painted electrical components, and the windshield wipers are nicely done, and so are the sunshades. Now as we move to the top of the unit, I will move the camera for this. The top of the unit is excuse me, it's very nicely done with some separate inscriptions here that you can see under a magnifying glass. This is a very nice touch, and plus you've got a separately applied horn that's been put on, and you also have a radiator fan which actually is see-through. As you can see the fan in there, and I do not believe it spins. But this does have DCC quick plug technology in it. And plus, the handrails of the unit are nicely done with some separately applied handrails. Athearn, like I said, does a very good job with detailing and matching it to the exact. One of my favorite units. I try to preserve this unit. Got this one here for Christmas. I've had this unit now 6 years. But I really wish I had seen one of these in the Phase 3 logo when I was young, but I never did. But I was exposed to Phase 5. But Phase 3 still lives on, number 13. And this unit, in fact, I have seen it where it's Phase 5 paint, and it looks really awesome. But as you've noticed, there is not a lot of contact between the fuel tank and the rail. I have brought my CSX 40-2 in here just to show you how much little contact there is between the rail and the fuel tank. On the real life units, the fuel tank usually comes almost close to the rail. It's very little contact, but some of the company manufacturers who do the model trains, like Lionel does, they have actually shortened the fuel tank a little bit. Do not ask me why they did this, but they're probably just trying to avoid contact between the tank and the rail. I'm guessing to some sort of related incident. But I did do a video of this on the HO scale layout earlier tonight, but I'm just bringing it in to show you it as well in detail. There's got a good horn that's been put on. It's all separately applied horn, but it lacks a lot of separately applied items. The trucks are pretty well, nicely done. Some separately applied stuff on the trucks, but it's got the black trucks, as you can see. And of course, it has the little builder's plate on it, which is always a nice touch. And of course, the fuel gauge is nicely done with a couple little painted items on both sides. And of course, the paint job on this is awesome. It matches exactly the YN3 paint, which is a very good thing. As you can see here, that's where the marker lights would be. So you can see they're white on this side and the red on the back. It's just the classification lights, and there's also lighted number boards on the CSX, front and back. It has also a backup light. And the Amtrak, I believe, has lighted number boards. I just can't remember. I don't think so. But these units are some of my favorites, and even my Norfolk Southern 40-2 has basically the same details. And the smoke unit on the CSX is not functional. But this is a Bachmann DCC onboard locomotive. This is an Athearn ready to roll. Now, Athearn have a series called Athearn Genesis that has DCC and sound. They cost more, but they're really worth your money if you want real live sound. Bachmann DCC onboard locomotives is a very simple starter locomotive if you're new to the hobby. I've been using Bachmann ever since I started collecting HO, probably 7-8 years now, and I've been very satisfied with Bachmann and satisfied with Athearn and Atlas. But as far as locomotives go, Bachmann and Athearn and Atlas are your top ones. Athearn and Atlas have done good job with detail, and Bachmann does too. But if you want to have a really, really good locomotive, stick with the Athearn or MTH. MTH does O scale, but now they're moving towards HO scale as well. So, Athearn locomotives, you know, they range with pricing, but a ready-to-run Athearn locomotive is about $100, and they're pretty expensive, but it's worth your money. Now, a Bachmann locomotive at a train show brand new, you can probably get it under $60. This locomotive, unfortunately, I was able to get it for like $40 or $50, and it was worth it. They've both been good runners. And here's one thing I didn't mention is the sand cap filler on the CSX. That's one of the ones that I didn't mention that separately applied, which I think was great. But anyway, that concludes the reviews on both of these locomotives. The GP40s I have in the train room, I have pretty much some of the same detail and just a separately applied horn, and that's pretty much it. And the trucks were nicely done on them too, but I'm going to just pick it up, let you look at it, front, the side, and the back. These are very good models. Bachmann locomotives, these are pretty easy to find. Same with Athearn. With Athearn, they're very good to find. Atlas locomotives, they're getting a little harder to find in some spots, but Athearn and Bachmann have been some of my favorites. So if you have any questions about how to purchase a locomotive or just trying to find one that has really good detail, leave me a comment in the description box, and I'll be glad to comment on your question. So anyway, that concludes this video. I'm Engineer Pat 5290, and I will see you next time.